your seats, we'll get this evening's program started.
Michigan Ice Fest recognizes the tribal nations of this territory, the Keweenaw Bay Indian Community, the Lac View to Sarabad of Lake Superior, Chippewa, the Bay Mills Indian Community, the Hannibal Indian Community, and the Sault Ste. Marie Tribe of Chippewa Indians. We acknowledge we stand upon the ancestral homelands of the Anishinaabe. Welcome to the Michigan Ice Fest. With title sponsor, Black Diamond Equipment. Sponsored by Patagonia. Building the best product. Causing no unnecessary harm, using business to protect nature, not bound by convention. The North Face, tested in labs, proven from expeditions, trusted by athletes. Mountain Hardwear, seek wilder paths. No Rona, crafted with quality, function, design, and sustainability. Welcome to nature. Menu, rise with the mountain. Pencil, access the inaccessible. Scarpa, whether you ski, climb, hike, or run, Scarpa is committed to ensure that enthusiasts experience top-tier quality in every adventure they pursue. No place too far. Camp USA, lighter, faster, camp. Yeti, built for the wild. DMM, climb now, work later. Arc'teryx, for what's to come. La Sportiva, for over 90 years, we've been innovating products that let you go where you dream to go, do what you dream to do, and live how you want to live. La Sportiva, innovation with passion. Rad, we are the mountain people. We are rad. And Sterling Ropes. Sterling designs and manufactures the highest quality rope and cord for the tallest peaks, toughest climbs, and most remote missions. With support from Clean Canteen, Fit Socks, Loa Boots, Good to Go, Athletic Brewing, Gallery Coffee, BioLite, Big Agnes, Joshua Tree, Furnace Industries, Adventure Medical Kits, East Channel Brewing Company, Alpinist Magazine, Michigan Outdoor Innovation Fund, the Munising Visitors Bureau, Michigan Outdoor Recreation Industry Office, Downwind Sports, and Munising, Michigan, home of the festival, your gateway to Pictured Rocks National Lake Shore.
How about that? So, put together for our sponsors, and we really appreciate all the hard work he does for that. He's the guy that's been running around taking photos and film of everyone this weekend, and doesn't get to climb, so we appreciate him coming all the way up from Kentucky to do that hard work for us. We will save, and by the way, he got his jacket back last night, so thank you very much for that. And so we will just roll right into our next presentation and save the announcements for after that. So I'd like to bring up to the stage somebody that's been at Ice Fest before, and I first met him out in Ouray, Colorado. And he's just one of those guys that has a magnetic personality, a lot of fun to hang around with. Did anybody take a clinic from him today? Or was he out playing? He's out playing, probably on Grand Island, so he's probably pretty stoked about that. So what about a big round of applause, sponsored by the North Face, Andres Guerra.
How's it going, everyone? Hope you all had a great day. Well, thanks for being here and just for the whole community using to organize this whole event and the volunteers, Yale, just everyone. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. So I'm just going to spend some time with you guys, telling you a story about a mountain that took some time to climb, and it was. For me, this story was more like a friendship, and a lot of hardships that I had to go through in order to accomplish this goal. So, with that, my name is Andres. I'm originally from Colombia, and then, let's see, Colombia. South America is the only country in the continent to have the two coasts, and also it's the second most biodiverse country in the planet after its neighbor Brazil. So that's where I am from. Let's see, I moved to this country in early 2003, and I ended up, shortly after that, I ended up working in Mount Rainier. You guys been to Mount Rainier before? No. So I worked there as a mountain guide for 10 seasons. A little bit too long, but it was good times that we had over there. And then on that mountain, actually, I met this individual here. Don't let him fool you with his funny words. He's a fierce alpinist with a great heart. His name is Clint Helander. And then, so in 2016, Clint asked me to go on an adventure with him to the Revelation Mountains in Alaska. He's been there multiple times before, and he did a bunch of like first ascents and all that. So he had that place pretty dialed. And I agreed. I was like, yeah, let's go on an adventure together. So one cool thing about the Revelation, you guys, is that it was first discovered in 1966. These two fellows did the first ascent of the Cachana Spires, and then when they were standing on the summit, they looked on the southwest, and they about 70 miles away, and then they saw these mountains that they had never heard or seen before. So they went back home and they did some research, and then they talked with this guy David Roberts, who's a pioneer in the Alaska Range. Yeah, there we go. And after that, they were like, okay, let's go back to our place. So in 1967, in August, they went back, supported by an expedition from the American Hiking Club. So they went there, and then they kind of launched different first ascents, and they also named the Revelation Mountains the Revelation Mountains. So David Roberts at the time, he was reading the Bible, right? And he was a major on English, and then he was reading the Bible, and what he was seeing on the Bible and what he was seeing in the mountains, it really like connected two and two together. And then he's like, oh, we're going to name this mountain the Revelations. And they also named different peaks, like the Three Horsemen and the Angel and Apocalypse, and these mystical mountains were Golgotha. So anyhow, Clint invited me to go over there, and I was like, yeah, let's go on, let's do this. One thing about the Revelation is that, let's see, I show you right here. So the Revelations are right there, you can see it. So any kind of weather that it comes from the Bering Sea, from like out west, or even south, is going to hit the revelations first. So the weather on this place, well, it sucks. But anyhow, I didn't really know at the time. I'm like, yeah, let's go and check it out and see what's up. So we went in 2016. It was my first time. Plains has been there flying since 2011. Like I mentioned before, we did a bunch of different first ascents. So our original plan, it was going to climb Jezebel, the north face of Jezebel, which is like right through this line. Multiple different teams of pretty skillful alpinists tried to climb this line, and that was being successful. So we landed in the glacier, we like skied out to the base. It was really, really cold. We were like on our down pants and down jackets and all that. And we got to the base and we were like, oh, we weren't really seeing ice. We only really were seeing like snow plaster on the faces. And we were like, I don't know if this is going to work for us. So anyhow, we went and we decided to go and climb a different mountain right across the street. So the photo that I was showing you guys was just right here, and we walk around and we climb this other mountain to get like a 360 view of what was going on out there. When we were standing on top of this mountain, we heard these really crazy noises. And it was these two like fighter jets buzzing around the whole entire Revelations. So later on, I learned that the Revelation Mountains, because they are so far out there, so remote, the Air Force used them as a training site. And throughout different visits that I did to this mountain, you see like all these crazy like planes and weird lights and all that stuff, like UFOs and shit like that. So when we were standing on this mountain, Clay was telling me about the east face of Golgotha, and I heard about Golgotha from reading some accounts from David Roberts, and he was mentioning about the east face of Golgotha being declined for the next generation or the next, just because of this futuristic face and really steep ice runnels and such. So Clinton and I decided to go and see what was that. I'm going to show you guys a video of the landing that we did there. Oh my God, these guys are some crazy sons of bitches. The craziest landing ever. Insane. So Clay's friends, they have these like two little planes, and they're called Super Cups. So I don't know how much you guys know about planes. Think about Super Cups as like being on a tuna can with wings. So Super Cups. So these guys came and landed us in here, like super generous on their side, and we end up on this like tiny little glacier, right? And really the only way to get out of there was like going and climbing this steep snow slope into this mixed terrain and getting into this pool where will take you down to the main Revelation glacier. So the good news is that we were like right at the base of Golgotha, right? Like it's like 20 minutes and we're climbing. The bad news is that we were trapped into that place. And we had we basically like filled the kitchen sink. I mean, you name it, we had it all. So we weren't really super mobile. And we were like, okay, cool, let's just pack our bags and go and check out this place. So our original plan was to like basically trying to like take the plumb line down this face, which is about 4,000 feet of climbing. And it's pretty much like technical climb the whole way. You have like some easy sections here and there, but all the rest of the time is like, how many of the ice climbing today? So imagine that like for a very, very long time, like your calves get super tired and your arms too and all that. And you're climbing with a back, which kind of sucks. So, and then the original, the first ascent of this mountain, Clint did it with his friend via this gully, and then they went up this bridge. So that's going to use us as our descent if we made it up. So we packed, like I mentioned, we packed our bags and we were ready to go and all that. Remember how I told you that the weather in the Revelation sucks? Well, that's what happened to us. So we contacted different bars, like some of you guys down here Mark Weissman, and he was giving us the weather. And Mark is like, well, there's something pretty bad coming your way. So we're like, well, let's wait and see what's going to happen with the weather, right? And sure enough, the weather just came. And that first night, we started to hear a little bit of like overloaded on the slope. So a lot of avalanche taking place, and we were just kind of being awake in 10 and just being like, oh man, this is really kind of crazy what we're experiencing right now. So the next morning when we woke up, I was like traveling around in camp, and Clint was taking some photos, and we were like standing in front of our tent, and this big avalanche sound, and we were looking at it, and then we see this cloud, really big, and I look at Clint, and we were like, he looked back at me, and he's like, yeah, and he turns around and started running away. And I'm like, oh shit, let's do this, and I was like trying to like follow him. But the snow is so deep, like not knee or thigh deep. Have you tried to run when the snow is that deep? It's pretty hard, right? So we are just basically running for our lives, right? I remember that when I turned around, the very first thing I saw was like the shower. So I grabbed the shower, I tossed my coffee cup, and I'm just like holding us down the glacier as fast as I can. So I remember like feeling the powder cloud going first, and then I feel someone like push me forward, right? So push me forward, and like the first reaction, you're going like nose first, like to put your hands in front, and then I feel something that was covering me. So really quickly I realized that I'm getting buried by an avalanche. Luckily, it was the tail end of the avalanche, so when I pushed myself out, my legs were like quite buried, and then the next thing I was thinking about was like, where is Clint, right? So I moved to the left, and he's the exact same thing. And from there on, like, things got pretty chaotic. I have this video, I'm going to show you here. I just got hit by an avalanche. Everything got destroyed. Kitchen tent is gone. And I fucking super lucky to be fucking alive right now. Jesus Christ. Can you stop shaking? So anyhow, like, Clint found his gloves, thankfully. And we basically needed to find our belongings. Because so what you're seeing there is like duffel bags being pushed by like maybe like 150 feet. So all the tent that we had before, and like basically our base camp, how we knew it was completely gone. So we needed to get all like belongings and like some sort of communication device to at least like call for a rescue or something like that. And the weather was so bad that no one was going to come for us. So this is like a little about 10. We finally start finding all our stuff in our tent. We find our sleeping bags and such. We also have the whiskey, which is like liquid courage for that situation. So we moved everything to this little rock. We were there and we hunkered there for about 4 days. That's how long this storm lasted. And it was like this rock covered snow. And we were like getting hit by avalanches in all kinds of different directions. So we were just like basically running around this rock for like literally 4 days straight. It really sucked. The weather went away, and then we were able to stop the runway, and our friends came and got us, and we were like, wow, that was one hell of an adventure, you know. So, and this is like a really good representation of what happened to us in 2016. There is Clint just completely exhausted after we just basically like from where we went through a week straight, and we learned a lot from that experience, to say the least. And from that, this somewhat like an obsession of climbing this mountain started for both of us. So anyhow, a year went by, you know, and we kind of like somewhat forgot all the stuff that we went through. And guess what? We were back. So this time we made a couple of adjustments. We went and we camped at the main Revelation Glacier. And then a couple of friends brought us to the Revelation. this time around, we got our good friend Leon. I haven't spent a ton of time with Clint. I never really had like a good photo of him. He looked like a zombie right here. Look at that. And then that's Leon. So the three of us got together and we let's go to Alaska. And then later on that year, we ended up going to Nepal on an expedition together. And the weather was actually believe it or not, was quite good first part of the trip. So we were able to actually go and climb on the space of Bogota. And the climbing was quite engaging. You have to go around these mushrooms and climb really steep terrain and such. And the way we were climbing this mountain, it was three of us, and we decided that each person is going to have a block from 2 to 3 beaches. So Clint got going, and he did his 3 beaches, and I went, and I did 3 beaches. And then Leon, his second beach, it was taking him forever. And we were Clint and I were sitting in there shooting, and we were what the hell is going on with Leon? Why is it taking so long? And hours went by. And it got to the point where I think something happened to the guy, right? Finally, the ropes came tight. And so, okay, cool, it's time for us to climb. So when we went and we climbed, we got to him, and we realized that his crampon broke. Literally, his crampon broke. And he actually finished the beach with only 1 cramp. Have you tried to ice climb with only 1 cramp? It sucks really bad, right? You bend your knee, and it's just especially if you're leading, right? You feel like you're gonna die, basically, every time you take a step. So, anyhow, we're oh, God, what are we gonna do now? So we tried to fix it, we tried to do one more beach, and we just it's no way that we can get up this thing. So we went and we went down all the way rappel, have to leave a bunch of gear behind. We damaged one of the ropes, went up and over the code that I was showing you guys before. We made it to the main revelation. This is our camp right here, and then we're just chilling. And we're okay, cool. Let's fix the crampon. Let's take 2 rest days and let's go back again. But guess what? The weather sucked. It's here. Holy 10. The broken pole. Survival mode now. Survival mode. We were living the dream. We really weren't living the dream. We were just grounded again for a week and a half on the revelation. Do you remember how I told you the revelation, the weather really sucks in that place? The weather really sucks in that place. So, and then by the time the week and a half came, we were just we needed to fly out. We were running out of food and fuel and all that. And it's quite interesting in the mountains how you fly in good weather, and then you fly out in good weather. And then the rest of the bad weather, you just spend it camping, right? So, and that's what I did that year. So that was 2 strikes, pretty much. So 2018 came back, and take a guess where we went. To Bogota, right? We're on a program right now. We're going back to the revelations. And that year, we didn't even put our harnesses on. The weather was terrible, and the conditions were pretty bad as well. So we went in there, we checked out the space of Bogota, and we were just it's just not really happening. And we were just how can we time? How can we make this objective in such a way that we time it when it's good conditions and good weather? So 2018 went by. 2018 came, and Clint and I were on an expedition in Nepal in the spring. We decided to take a year off of camping, of bad weather camping, the revelations. And we were in the Himalayas, and we got the news that 3 really good friends of ours passed away on an avalanche in Canada. Jess, David, and Hans. And trying to make the sense of it all for us, it was quite hard. We just didn't really, we're trying to really just cope with that whole thing of losing your friends. And if you climb in the mountains or in life, you lose people, right? And it's up to you how you really deal with those kind of situations. And for Clint and I, we took that grief in a way against each other. There was a lot of really anger towards each other that we didn't really know where that was coming from. we just didn't really know how to cope with all that stuff. So anyhow, some years went by, and we started talking again. 20 happened. You remember 2020? The next year too, and all that. And then 2022 came, and then Clint and I were starting to talk again, and really just like dealing with our own life, and we both of us realized that we needed to connect again. We have this like strong friendship, and yeah. So we talked about it. We were like, let's go on a date. Let's go on a mountain date. And guess where we end up going? Then Revelations, back again. So there we go. And this time around we were psyched. We feel like the plane to the brain. I mean, like it's literally like plane flying with jet fuel on his lap. Our friend Rob here, who owns a hunting lodge not too far away from the Revelations, he was like, okay, I really want you guys to climb this thing because I don't want to see you guys ever again. He was serious. He flies to Revelations every year. Like, all right, once and that's it. And Clint and I, like, we made a pact. We were like, this is the last time that we go to this mountain. Like, literally, like, our last time, and then like, don't mess with this thing anymore. And by the time there was like people who wanted to go climb on that mountain as well. And we were like, well, give us one more try. You know, like when you spend your time like putting a brood and all that, and put like time and effort and all that stuff, and it's like circling vultures around your head. So you're like, when are you climbing this road? You know, like for us it was kind of like that. And we're like, oh, come on, just give us one more time or one more go. And so we landed in the Revelations, and our eyes were set on this line. Conditions were really, really good, and we were like, all right, we're really going to do this. We were really willing to put it all out there, like whatever it took for us to get at that thing. And then we got climbing on the face. We passed our high point. We got to the first cave. We found this amazing cave within the inside of the mountain. You know, sometimes BBs, how many of us like have done a BB before? Yeah. So you know how they suck. You know, you're like either sitting down or just kind of like smooshing against your friend and all that. It's like no sleep whatsoever. But we found this like really cool cave, and we were joking that this cave was as big as like an apartment in New York. So we like took the crampons off, harnesses off, set the tent. We were just like so nice, and we got actually a really good night of sleep. So the next morning I got going. It was my time to leave for a while, and it was really cool how everything really was coming into place. You know, like Clint and I were like doing really well. The mountain was really inviting us to have a really good climb. Conditions were like great, so we were just like climbing, and then it was time for Clint to take the lead. And this right here, what you guys see, that was a big question mark for us. So when you go to a new route or to a mountain in general, you bring like binoculars, you bring a line and see what's going to work and potentially what's not going to work. And that for us was like a huge question mark. So Clint was like going out there, like really just doing quite well on his climbing and such. And we got to another little cave. This time around it wasn't as good as before. And coming out of that cave, it was like such a pain in the ass. How we were like so committed on this climb. And Clint was just like doing really well. It was like there was this little like scene that was coming out of this maybe like that, like 3 meters deep, whatever it was that, and then some ice at the end, and he was just like, you know, like, in the mountains. For some of you guys who don't really know this, like when you're climbing a route like this, at least in my style, maybe for Jeff and Tim is different, but I'm putting pieces, I'm standing on my friend's head, I'm doing whatever it takes to get us on the mountain, right? So Clint was like climbing, he was like free climbing, he was doing all kinds of crazy stuff up there. And then he went for it, and he takes a fall, right? And he's like dangling like on the ropes. We're like, at this point, we're like about 3 was really magical time that we were having up there. It was really, really cool. So we get on the second meeting of the mountain. So there is this corner, the anchors here, I'm organizing everything. This photo is like right on the meeting. So I'm in this corner right here. The tent is probably like whatever, like just right over there. And I'm organizing the things. Then went inside the tent because he needed to change his socks and put long underwear on. He runs really hot. That's how I know him so well. We have spent a fair amount of time together. And so he's like messing around in the tent. I'm like organizing things and all that. And I hear this like yell. And when I look out, the tent and cleaner are gone. Right? And I'm like, holy smokes! I don't even know if it's like attached to the rope. What in the hell he's doing? But so he falls down. The rope gets tight. And then I was like, oh man. I look back, and there he is. He's still attached to the rope. He's holding the tent, looking at me with like a face of terror. And I'm looking at the guy being like, oh shit, dude. Like, if you drop that tent, we're so screwed because everything is inside that tent, right? Like, sleeping bags, clothes, food, like all of it. And he's just holding this tent like so, like looking at me like deer in the headlights. And I'm like, oh boy. So we were able to recover the tent, and luckily we didn't. The only thing that we lost was my sunglasses. Everything else was in one place. So we were like, wow, that was a win. And then we just kept on going, kept on climbing, and kept on doing our thing. And like I said, like everything was just really, really working out for us. So we come out of the phase, we're on the summit of the region, and we're just like really making it happen. Really, really cool views. And this photo for me, it was like the realization of this project that we've been working for such a long and finally is taking place, right? Like I see things coming out of the horizon on the last little like summit bit, or summit ridge to get to the summit. And then here we are. We are like on top of this mountain, right? This mountain that really like meant so much to us in so many different ways. Not only because we were standing on the mountain, oftentimes like standing on the summit of mountains, it's kind of like anticlimactic type of time. You know, you work so much, so hard for something, and you're standing on top, and you're like, oh cool, you know, like, I'm here. Like, beautiful views, awesome being with your friend there, but it's kind of like, oh wow, well, you know, okay, that's cool. But for us, it was like so much time that we spent thinking about this mountain, and it was a really emotional time for us to be up there, just being there with each other, and really just like utilizing that time to think about the friends that helped us so much to get to this point, and then the friends that weren't there with us anymore, and it was really cool. You know, it was really cool time to be up there with him. So we go down the mountain. At that point, we are so tired, like literally so tired. We haven't like eat that much food, drink that much water, or anything like that. So we're just like finally made it down, and it took us like a full like day and some change, day and a half. Like in Alaska, sometimes like all the days get like convoluted. You know, like you just keep on going and going and going to get pretty delirious, and then you just keep on going again and you're like, okay. So it's like the Alaska thing, you just go, you know. And we come down, and this is kind of like a really good representation of how we felt. To basically summarize our climb to Golgotha. Unbelievable. About the Mystic Station. Then we have to go out that call. And then ski back to camp. So we did follow the ropes before we started climbing out. That took like another good hour, you know, doing that. We were like just like, oh god, okay, let's do this. So anyhow, we went up the call, got to our skis, cleaned all the gear, the ski down. And so when we were on the summit, we were able to see how windy So we got on our skis, we ski down to base camp, and I can really only see one tent, and we have two tents, right? And I'm like, wow, that tired that we can really see. And I'm asking friends, like, do you see the reflection? It was night at the time, so we were pointing our headlamps towards the tents, and sometimes they have like reflective tape on it, and we can only see one tent. And I was like, wow, this is so wild. And we got there and checked this out. You know, what happened? How big is the hole we were staying in? Everything, well, the tent is gone and everything is very big. So we get there, and our kitchen tent is gone, right? We were looking so forward to like having a nice meal, and I'd be like trying to drink and hang out, and I'd just be like, oh yeah, we're so cool, we've done this, all of that. And we got there and we just completely humbled by the mountains, by the Revelation Mountains. We did have a whiskey though. Find the whiskey, took a couple sips, and we were just like, good to go to sleep because we were like so drunk, like literally like, super cheap dates at that point, of how dehydrated we were. And this is like a really good like reminder how the mountains at the end of the day have the last word, right? Like we put so much time and effort on climbing this mountain, and we did it, and we were like feeling like so cool about it, and we come down and we're like, oh god, everything is gone. And we end up like finding pretty much everything. And it was just like Golgotha basically gave us the safe passage to go up and down. It humbled us when we came back. But anyhow, we found the east face of Golgotha, and we kept the biblical name going, so we named it Shades of the Abyss. And there's really like a bunch of different learning experiences that we have in here.
One thing I would ask him is like, did they had that combination? They just made this. Exactly. I went on a walk once. Well, fun to talk.
Agree.
It's so extreme.
He's the next guy.
How was the demo today?
It was fun. I had fun. I always honestly, these guys, like, the first time was not bad. And I always thought people hire us there are like all these natural shows. So I was trying to like do it almost like without relying on those, like actually like put that as like the presence of this. But there's not quite like because I only did two. There's one that I lost for like so I just didn't know where my feet kind of went too, so I just went out one. And then just to like give it like that's how like my energy is so far down. And just getting those picks like over
All my energy goes into cracking the boxes, and then I get down, and I'm like,
I really want to go where we went with Baby that one time. Did you like it? Was it real good? We should all go.
I probably need to get back to like that like
Oh, I'm not talking.
no, you're talking about just
Another
yeah. I would totally
it's cool. It's
I would honestly really just because I
but like anything along faces. But I also don't think there is HMRs are getting
it's on next. The pictures are
so there's this, it's not HMR, but there's this curtain, and it goes for like, it still goes for a mile. It's like a complete sheet of ice, and it's like, it's not vertical, it's kind of like slope, so it's super easy. It's this huge sheet.
so is that like I guess is it like northeast?
It is the east side. West side. So what you have to do is you have to cross on the east side of the east side. You can't go west otherwise you'll have to go to it. And it's like huge turns. The ice will break.
Well, I know like my coworker Kurt ice fishers he's never really because if it was like it seems like the ice is almost just like just drink the sea.
No, that wasn't last year.
No, I think like you said it's really funny. Like,
So we were on the Unfortunately, someone actually had some really old bad food. No, so I was working standing like he was standing, and then I thought we were I mean, I felt like he basically flat out his side, very abrupt. He had a helmet, which is probably honestly, I really like it is this year's I will say the bar down for a little the size is it's not that far but like they were struggling to get up to this super older he was like falling out of the waist originally. And he's older, the younger, like, one guy's like, so crazy person, ready to have another heart attack. So then, yeah, then after the people like, we should probably, yeah, he was okay. He might have broken something. So he's like, he's the weirdest. So he's there. They're just about to get on the left and something. You know, turn around and get back. But they got back. I don't know if it's working on it. There's no fingers around it. I don't know. No, this was like unfortunately, working with the sheriff's department offered me a so many intrusive thoughts. Like, anywhere near cliffs, they're like, even it's like, your slap just kind of I probably shouldn't be doing it.
There was one part that was like totally vertical, and I had this moment of like this. Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, I thought about what I was doing too much, and I was just like, and I was just like, keep going, make it stop. It feels way more.
All right, we have just a couple of announcements before we start our next show.
So I could get it done.
As a programming note, our shuttle buses will run until 3 p.m. tomorrow. So if you have backcountry aspirations along the Lakeshore Trail, make sure you're back by 3, or you make other arrangements to get back to Munising. The demo wall is open tomorrow, 10 until 1, and all rental gear must be back by 3 p.m. The reason is we have to pack all this stuff up. It usually takes us about 2 days because it has to go to the next ice festival. So we appreciate you guys getting that back to us so we can help out the other festival and get other people out on the ice. The artist on ice, is Lizzie here? Woo! So has anybody gone over to the gallery to see her work? Amazing stuff. Yeah, that's right. Anybody into tattoos? She's a tattoo artist, so maybe we need to bring her back next year and get the needles going and get some of these logos on people. Her artwork is available to purchase. It will be at Gallery tonight at the Chris Blues Dance Party. After that, we're going to take it over to Downwind Sports, and it'll be set up there tomorrow. So on your way out of town, make sure you stop in there and get some gifts for your friends. Don't forget, if you want in on the photo contest, it's hashtag Michigan Ice Fest 2025. We will look at our favorite 30 or 40 photos. I can't remember what we said. The deadline is, thank you, Tuesday. And put it on Facebook. but the one that gets the most likes gets free registration and some ice climbing gear with that. What did I say? Okay, we're going to do free registration in the class. Thank you. And gear. Which reminds me, all of our programs are being live streamed, so I can't get out of that, right? So if you have friends back home, text them. They can watch what's happening tonight, and they will live on our YouTube channel. So we do have a live stream channel. We do have a winner in our remote route challenge. Pretty excited about this. With a high score of 89 points, it's Captain Scott Noss and Jess. Come on up here. Two-time champions. If you haven't seen it, this is the trophy. It is like the Stanley Cup. It will grow every year, and after I'm long gone, it'll be about this tall. So they went out and scored 89 points. They will get free registration to next year. Captain Scott Noss of the Sea Dragon 3. He knows a lot about boating because he's sunk two of them already. In the East Channel. Don't forget, I can't believe we have any of that Yeti stuff left. So $25 for flasks, for coffee mugs, for water bottles. All of that money goes to Sharp, Superior High Angle Rescue Professionals, who actually were out today assisting someone that was hurt, not seriously, and got them out of the climb and out to care. So, very important group. We train year-round and do rescues summer and winter. We also have some North Face hats left. Very disappointed. $15. What's that? Only 4 left. $15. 100% of that funds goes to a kids climbing program. So the Michigan Ice Fest guys do a summer climbing program. It's a 6-day day camp where they learn everything from sport climbing to trad climbing. 9 years old to 16 years old. And so we give that out to scholarships to kids. And once again, that's supported by North Face, who also sent Andreas and did that wonderful program tonight. So get over there, 4 of you, and buy those last hats. Don't forget to sign up for Chief out in the hallway there for your $100,000 vehicle. And is Brad Garvin still here? Yeah. Brad Garvin, can you stand up? So Brad Garvin is with the state of Michigan, and he has been a significant for quite a few years now. And so they fully fund our BIPOC program. And so we bring folks from Detroit, Memphis, Chicago, and Minneapolis come up here to have a great experience. Also helps to bring people like Phil and Dom that make our event so special. So thank you very much, Brad. So, that's all my announcements. So we have one more program tonight, followed by the raffle, and then the Chris Blues dance party. Chris is here, so make sure you go over there and get him out on the dance floor. So, it was great to have Andreas start off with a wonderful adventure up into Alaska. And for a lot of long-time Ice Fest attendees, they know that I usually throw in one presentation for me. That's my special gift to myself. And so I am a big fan of climbing history, and so we bring in a lot of I think legends in our sport, and Jack Tackle has been to Michigan Ice Fest before. Yeah, and yeah, super excited because Jack was old school. He was at Sydney's with about this many people in a room that only fit about 100 people. Very smelly, very noisy, very smoky, and Jack did a wonderful presentation. We've run it cross paths quite a bit after that, and I've always wanted him back. He's a great storyteller, and if you have aspirations to go to Alaska, he is a wealth of knowledge. And so we are going to talk about Alaska again tonight and share some stories with a lot of people that you've probably met at this festival. So please welcome Jack Tackle.
How's everybody doing? I wanted to thank Bill first for having me here. Like you said, I came a couple times a long time ago. But I really appreciate Bill bringing me here, and it's really cool to be here. And so tonight I'm just going to share sort of a story about how I started climbing in my home, Bozeman, Montana. Anybody been to Bozeman? To Bozeman Ice Fest? I actually helped start that 30 years ago, so it's really cool to see how that's grown. But I gotta tell you, I've been to a lot of ice fests, and this is as cool ice fest as there is. So I'm gonna just start off with a couple of footnotes here. This is obviously Mount Neverest, as we called it. And so I'm going to start with this photo of Everest because it changed how I looked at alpine climbing. So my story tonight is about my evolution in climbing from starting in Montana and then learning how to climb ice and rock and then evolved into taking that to the greater ranges to be an alpinist, which is sort of what I focus on. So in 1983, I went to Everest here. We went to climb the West Ridge Direct, which is this profile here. And it was a large expedition. There were 12 climbers, 6 support people, but we didn't take any oxygen, and we didn't take any Sherpas. So I like to make the joke that we didn't get up. But I learned a lot about altitude, and also was able to have a little day by myself where I soloed out from here at 25 and went up to Horbine and got to the rock step here and was feeling pretty good, but I knew if I kept on going I might get to the top, but I was pretty sure that I wouldn't get down. So I turned around and came back and went home and decided I needed to figure out how to make a living and still go climbing. And I'll get into that in a second. But what I ended up doing is really focusing on alpine climbing and ranges around the world. I've been to Patagonia 5 times. I climbed Fitzroy here with Joe Josephson in 1999. We tried to do a new route on the west face here. This is 7,000 feet of climbing. And we got somewhere up in here and had to bail because of weather and went back and then actually did a traverse with the Super Canaleta down to the other side right before the window of weather shut down. Another place I've been is the Karakoram. I've been to the Himalayas on 7 expeditions. And in 1984, I went to the Diablo Glacier here and climbed a rock tower with Galen Rowell and 2 other guys. And Galen took this photo. The reason I put this in the show is that this photo was taken 41 years ago. And at that point, every one of these summits over here had never been climbed. And today, most of those summits have still not been climbed. So if you think there's nothing left to that's the great thing about alpinism and the greater ranges and just exploring and going new places, is there's still plenty left to do if you're psyched to do some research or talk to me or somebody else. So, a few years ago I was doing a slideshow in the Czech Republic, believe it or not, and this friend of mine, the Czech climber that brought me there, put together this little graphic here, which I thought was super cool. So, you know, first you work a lot, then you buy a lot of shit, and then you consume too much, and then you die, right? So you might as well just go climb. So I'm going to start with a little history. This is a peak outside of my home in Bozeman in the Bridger Range called the North Face of Rocks Peak. And it just happened to be the first new route I ever did. It just was this 900-foot little wall, only 20 minutes from where I live right now. And I started climbing in 1973. That sort of dates myself. I started climbing with this guy, Gary Scar. And you can see it was a little cold out, so he's trying to keep all three of his legs warm here. So, this is 1975. So this was the rack. You know, this was before cams were invented. This was before Gore-Tex. Clearly before the internet. And so this was our rack, and this was inspired by the famous photograph many of you have seen, Royal Robbins and Yvonne racking up for the South in Yosemite. So we get up on this thing, and here we are, bivouacked. I got a Bell motorcycle helmet that I borrowed. And we thought we were really being tough and cool, you know, here we are bivouacking. But the stupid thing was we were only 200 feet off the ground. Could have just fixed our ropes in the ground, built a fire, and slept in the woods. So we weren't very smart to start with. But it's a learning process. You gotta start somewhere. So after that, the first expedition I went on was to this place. This is Mount Waddington. You saw Tim Evans' show last night. This is the other side of Waddington from where he was on Combatant. And I went there in 75 with four other friends from Oregon. I'd gone to school at the University of Oregon, or at least I enrolled. I didn't really go to school. So you can see a lot of, you know, wooden skis, big heavy frame packs. And the thing about this, Waddington has a fairly interesting history, I think, in North American climbing. Because it's the highest peak, not only in BC, it's the highest peak in Canada outside of the Logan St. Elias. And it's only 25 air miles per salt. And it's 13,260 feet. But in British Columbia, you can't fly into the glaciers like you can in Alaska with ski planes, because they don't have skis in the planes, they have floats. So we actually started from saltwater, and the approach was 45 miles, and we took skis because eventually we got above the glaciers where we got to the firm line and put our skis on. So we get up to the south face, and this is, again, an example of the gear. Pins, chocks, stoppers, still 3 years before cams were invented. And we didn't have any success because we really didn't know what we were doing. I'd only been climbing for a year and a half. And the other guys, we picked a line that the rock was terrible. We ran away. So on the way out, this photo was taken. And the guy on the right never went back, and for some reason the guy on the left did. One of the things about doing a show like this for me is So in another 20 years, this is what I'm gonna look like. But I'm still here. At any rate, I went back in 1977 with this fellow Ken Kearns, and we did successfully do a new route on the south face of Waddington. And it was really a landmark climb for Kenny and I, personally, because we finally got up something significant. If you've ever seen 50 classic climbs, this photo's in the chapter on Mount Waddington we did. And this is my friend Ken Kearns on that trip. And we had a great partnership and friendship right out of the gate. So we ended up deciding we should just do a whole bunch of climbing together. And so a couple years later, we went here. And this is what became known as the Isis face of Denali. And give you a little reference point here. This is 8,000 feet of relief from there to here. And we skied around the corner on the west fork of the Ruth and looked at this thing, and I'd never seen anything this big, neither again in terms of relief and scale. And so that's why I titled this show Alaska to the Other Himalaya. It's not, it doesn't have any 7,000 and 8,000 meter peaks, but there's a lot of big mountains, a lot of big relief, and a lot of fantastic faces and aspects of mountains to climb up there. So before the next slide here, our route we started up was over here, and we dug a snow cave here, and then right up in here, something happened. Kenny had led the pitch. We were using old Chenard ice screws to put a screw in 30 feet up from my blade, ran the rope out the rest of the way, and was trying to put a piton in, and the snow underneath his feet collapsed, and he fell over backwards and took a 250-foot leader fall. He went by me and below me, and I couldn't see him. And just as a side note, in those days we used belay, hip belays. Turns out they work. But Kenny was pinned, and I was pinned because we were counterweighted off this screw 30 feet above me. He eventually was able to cut himself off of the rope with his Swiss Army knife and drop into this crevasse you see here with a shattered femur and a huge headwind. So we sort of had a situation on our hands, and I ended up being able to down climb with him, sort of on my arms, facing in, he faced out, and got him back to the snow cave, and I down climbed a couple thousand feet back to our skis, skied out 10 miles down to the mountain house in the Ruth Amphitheater, and was able to fortunately radio a pilot who just flew over. In those days, we only had CB radios, which was line of sight for communication with the pilots. So I was lucky to get a hold of Cliff Hudson, our pilot. He flew me out, and I went out to Chalkeetna, and two guys volunteered to come back in with me and help rescue Kenny out of the face. And the two guys that came back in with me, the guy on the left is Mug Stump, the guy on the right is Jim Logan, who's now Jamie Logan. And the two of them were there that tried to do the first ascent of the east face of the Mississippi, but they gave up their own aspirations for 2 days, came in and helped me get Kenny off. So here's Muggs. How many people here have not heard of Muggs? A lot of people, maybe? Yeah. Well, Muggs was a very strong and very influential climber in the Alaska Range. He died in a crevasse fall, died in 1994, I believe. And but he was a force in the Alaska Range. And so I'll be grateful for him helping me and Kenny out, Jim. Most of you might know who this guy is. Jim Danini was here last year, I believe, right? Yeah. So, Jim and I got to know each other through the outdoor business. One of the things I wanted to talk about a little bit is, you know, in 1983 when I came back from Everest, there wasn't really sponsorship. And I decided to become a wholesale sales rep in the outdoor business. And I started working for Jim initially. And then I went out on my own. So that's how I got to know Jim. And in 1985, Jim actually had climbed all over the world. He'd been on Laytop, of course, did the first ascent of Torrevieja, Patagonia, all these major climbs all over the world. But he'd never been to Alaska. So I convinced him to go to Alaska in 1985 to this place. And this is the east base of Mount Hunter in the Alaska region. So I had spied this from ISIS, because it's not that far away. ISIS is on the southeast flank of Denali, and this route, as you crow flies, is maybe 10, 12 miles away. So I saw this while I was belaying halfway up the face and decided, well, you know, that looks like a cool line. So what we did, what we called the diamond red, because this sort of looks like the diamond on the east face of Long's Peak, right? Broadway, so forth. Anyway, the route we did was up through here, here, and on up here, and so forth. But one of the things about alpine climbing, and actually life, is commitment, vision, and trust. And been sort of a mantra that I've used to try to identify the things you need to do. You have vision to come up with, say, an idea like this. You have to trust not only yourself, but your partner. It's pretty important. And commitment came up pretty strong here because this photo here was taken after Cliff Hudson flew me in here in a supercut because there was not enough room to land with a bigger plane. We could only fly one person at a time. So he flew me in. I sat there for 4 or 5 hours by myself. And then Jay Hudson, Cliff's son, flew Danini in. And you can see Jay here sporting his Alaskan tan. And Jay told us, well, we'll see you guys at the Hilda base because we can't come back in here and pick you up. You can land, but we can't take off at any rate. You're on your own. So that was sort of committed. And we didn't have a radio. We didn't take bolt kits. We just started climbing. So the climbing, you know, was following a weakness through the rock. There was a lot of mixed climbing, and here's Jim. One thing I get grief about, and I'll just be preemptive here, none of us wore helmets in those days. Okay? We thought helmets were for wusses. Wrong, but that's what we thought. So I think the second bid we had was this. And what happened here was we were underneath this narrow so we still debate who dropped the rope. But I know who dropped the rope. So now we're even more committed, right? Because we have one rope to get off of this mountain. And we ended up going down a different way than our plan. We ended up going down what's called the Northeast Ridge for a while. We bailed off and rappelled down what is now called the Mini Moonflower before anyone had climbed it with our one rope. And this is Jim 9 days after we started. So we traversed the whole mountain, we crawled down the southeast slope to the local base, and sort of had an epic, but we actually got up the route the first time. So that was new. And but after that, we decided, well, you know, there's some rock climbing around here. We can maybe just go rock climbing instead of this alpine climbing stuff. So we started going into the Ruth. How many people here have been in the Ruth Gorge? Right? Well, this is Mount Baril. It's one of the peaks that sits at the head of the Ruth Gorge on the west side. And I had spied this line that went up this pillar here in the middle. This guy right here. And there was a crack system in it, and it looked like a really fun rock climb. So we did make a few attempts, but just to give you some scale, Baril, this is the size of Halfton. Okay? And it's the smallest thing in the route. So here we are, having fun, right? Bare hands, rock shoes, rock bag. I'm still not wearing a helmet, but Jim is for some reason. But this was just like perfect 510 channel. Really fun climbing. And we ended up, completing this thing. It's called the Cobra Pillar. It's in 50 favorite climbs. It was Jim's favorite climb for that book. It would have been mine, but Jim beat me to it. So I had to pick another one that I'll talk about for a little bit. So the Ruth became a place that really ended up spending a fair amount of time. And the next thing I went after is this was called Mount Johnson. It's a peak in the Ruth also, quite a few peaks down from Baril. It goes Baril, Dickey, Bradley, Wake, then Johnson, and then Baril. And this mountain had sort of a mystique. It had only had one ascent by an easy snow route off the backside. And the thing that I got drawn to was this. This gash you see here was called the elevator shaft. You don't have to be Fellini to figure out where the line is, because there, oops. Too much technology. It's just, this initial part is a 1,500 vertical foot gash that's 150 feet deep into the wall in some places, and in a few places you can reach out and touch both hands on either side. So it's pretty wild, pretty unique. But it's also something you don't want to go and start climbing on if it's going to snow, because this is an accumulation zone up here like the size of Delaware. That's going to just dump on you. And in fact, the first time I tried it with Kim Miller, who actually runs Scarlet North America now, him and I got trapped underneath a chalkstone right here for a day and a half while Spindrift avalanche over the top of it. The second time I tried it, I went there with Bill Belko, who runs Blue Ice now. And we got here and we looked up and there was a 30-foot cornice at the top. So we just went back to the tent and did something else. So these things are really condition dependent. You've got to make good judgments. A friend of mine years ago told me something that stuck with me, which was that, good judgment is only a result of having survived bad judgment. The rock is very monolithic. You see there's no cracks here. And this is climbable, but basically it's just snipes. It's just compressed snow from the Spindrift avalanches. It's not melt freeze, ice at all. For the first 9 pitches, we never placed an ice cream. And so we had to dig for rock here, which was hard to get. So we nicknamed this stuff China White, which is street slang for heroin. Higher up, you can see up here Doug's, or I think this is me leading up underneath. There were 2 big chalk sticks. The one below us is the one that Kim Miller and I got trapped underneath. The one that we're coming up to here is underneath all the snow. But these enormous boulders stuck wedged in the chicken. And so this is the first pitch we put an ice cream. We were 9-0 points up. And here's Doug standing on that second chalk stone. Just to give you some scale on the size of the boulders stuck in the chimney. So after that pitch, it became much more moderate snow climbing. We just summer climbed another 1,000 feet to the top of this the shaft itself. And you'll see here are steps. This is the shaft where we came from. We just walked over here in like 3 minutes, stamped out a platform in the flat snow and put the tent up. This almost never happens. And after that, we ended up having to do this rock headwall. And this ended up being the wild part in the climbing. And the rock here is a little challenging. Ian Morrell called it having the consistency of the cracker jacks. And because he had tried to do it on the other side to use buttons. But anyway, what you could do, it was sort of fun. You saw this crack, and it's just like climbing in the desert. You know, you look at a knife blade crack, you take out a standard 3/4 inch angle, you beat it in, and you get severe. So after the head wall, we actually got to the summit. And this is one of the few summit photos I have. And it was rare in the sense that it was the middle of the day, not a breath of wind. Moose's tooth, feet behind us here. Moose's tooth is this is the bird tooth. And we just hung out and enjoyed ourselves. We went down the first descent route. It only took 5 hours to descend off the backside. It was mostly just down climbing. We only did 2 rappels and a rock. So that was the elevator show. Still hasn't been repeated. I have no idea why. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit chronologically here. The first trip I actually took to the Greater Ranges of Alaska, and I'm using some license here, was to the Logan St. Elias Mountains, which is mostly in Canada, but part of it's in the U.S. And I drove up there with some of the same guys I got into Waddington with. And there's 3 things I just wanted to point out in this photo. One is, this is before Grand Cherokees. This ice axe of mine here, it's a bamboo shafted straight 70-centimeter PLA Chinook Cross ice axe. It's now on display at Teton Mountaineering in Jackson Hall as a museum piece. And then, not everyone's going to remember this, but I'm just going to go ahead anyway. This jacket here, this is the jacket that Chouinard came out with, Chouinard equipment. It was called Foam Back. Does anyone remember Foam Back?
Oh boy, didn't work.
Well, I knew this would be a problem with respect to the demographics here, but I always like to give Elon shit because he should have got some Nobel Science Prize. It was the only jacket that was ever made that was both not waterproof and didn't breathe. So, it's a cool story because Brad had a lot of influence and a lot to do with Alaskan climbing. So after that, this photo is what got me attracted to Mount Kennedy. And, you know, pretty hard to see where the line is, right? This North Ridge here is 7,000 feet. Kennedy is just under 14,000 feet in elevation. And that is one of the prettiest ridges in the world. So I went there in 1978 with the idea of trying to climb that alpine style. We failed. And then 17 years later, a guy named Jack Roberts. Is Jack in here? Okay. Jack called me up and he said, hey, have you ever thought about going to Mount Kennedy? He hadn't been aware that I had gone there in 1978. So I said, yeah. What are you talking about? And he was thinking about this face here. So this is this enormous 6,000 foot face that sits right on the ridge. This is the North Ridge. But this was totally unclimbed. So we went there in 95. We got there. We didn't see a way to climb it and have any bivouacs. And so we checked it out. And tried the North Ridge and got stormed off. But the next year we came back in 1996. And this is the Jack on the first pitch. And this is a little distorted, but if you just lean back and look at the ceiling, that's the angle that I took this photograph with. And you're looking at the lower 3,000 feet of the face that we were going to climb. And by this time, what was interesting, in that 17-year gap between 78 and 95 and 96, when we went back with Jack, a lot had changed in terms of what our perspectives about what was possible in this type of climate. What had also changed is that the tools had gotten a lot better, slogging had gotten a lot better, all the equipment had gotten a lot better. But what really changed was people's vision about what was possible. So we ended up doing a really cool thing for us, which is, you know, sort of a combination of ice and rock, which, you know, we call it climbing. Back then we just called it Scottish. But rock mainly say, I'll deal with it, let's just keep going. It's like a June, right? So, we kept going. So the next pitch, when we left the court ledge there, we'd also brought a fiddler tent with us. We left the ledge, and his bat, went lighter. But Jack's doing this traverse here, and I keep looking at him going, so how does it look like straight above me? Because, you know, got one cramp on here, it's a little hard to go sideways. And he was, of course, going the right way. So what I ended up doing when we negotiated this, I just sucked my Juma up against the screw tight, and I just push off, take a 30-footer, jog up to the screw, take it out, cinch up the rope, push off, take another 30-footer. It was not pleasant. I kept going, kept making progress. And you can see here in this one quite well. One cramp on, no cramp on. So I'm getting a massive right thigh pump, jogging with one leg. But to show how bright we were, get up to Jack here above the next fillet, right here where he is. And I look at his boots and I go, hey, what size boots do you got? Turned out we had the same size boots as feet. So now, instead of Jack having to read everything, we could at least trade and make it easier and not have one person sharpen all the time. But I can assure you, when we changed crampons, there were like 8 swings and beaners making the transition. So above there, we got up to a point where we intersected the existing North Ridge. And we've been on the face at this point for 6 days, and we ended up getting stuck in this tent for 2 days with avalanches just pouring over us and loading the tent and just roaring over the top of us. And so, you know, what do you do in a situation like that? You just sit there and look at each other like this, you know, with a 1,000-yard stare. And one thing that is sort of interesting, look at Jack's knuckles. See how swollen they are? And this is his wedding ring that he forgot to take off. It took 2 weeks before his finger was not swollen enough to get it off. So at this point, we had a really hard decision to make. We were on existing terrain. We knew it was moderate climbing, but this last 1,500 feet above us was totally loaded from this 2-day storm. And, you know, avalanches have been pouring over us from it for 2 days. So we decided it was time to bail. And so we did 30 rappels from this point here. That was the camp. And a day and a half later, we got to the bottom of the glacier. So Jack and I always talk about the fact that this is our summit road. This and this, right? It's sort of not over until you get back. But both of us agreed that later on that it was the best climbing we ever did. So now I'm going to jump around a little bit. This is a fellow, anybody know who this is? Yeah. Stuart Alexander Lowe. What is Alex? So Alex is from Montana, like myself. We met when Alex was 19. And we ended up doing a bunch of really fun climbing in the winter in the Tetons. So I just thought I'd throw a few slides in here, especially for younger people who didn't know about Alex, because he was the very best of all of us. I spent 40 years guiding for the Axel Mountain guys in the Tetons. So I had some knowledge and range. And Alex and I ended up doing a bunch of first winter ascents that was really fun. This is when we did the north face of the Grand direct, which hadn't been done direct. Last 4 pitches hadn't been climbed in the winter. George Lowe and partners had done it in 1968. But we did the upper part, Alpine just leave you with this image of Alex. He died 26 years ago, almost now, in Shishapama, but he was the very best. So now, I'm going to take you back to the Logan St. Elias Range. In 2000, I went to the Over with Doug Shavoy, you saw earlier, the elevator shaft with. We didn't succeed on the Over, but on the way out, I got very sick with viral spinal meningitis. And 5 months later, I came down with a very rare autoimmune disease called Guillain-Barré syndrome. And so I ended up in the hospital for 2 months. I was like 80% paralyzed and had to sort of learn how to do everything over. And that was January of 2001. A year and a half later, my friend Charlie Cicera from Alaska suggested, hey, there's this thing called Mount Augusta. It's got a face on it. It's never been climbed. It might be a good thing to get back on the horse. So this is the line we started up and the route we intended to do. Augusta is a border peak. The north side here is in Canada. The opposite side is in the United States. I don't go anywhere without coffee. I was even making my own coffee with my own Melita in the Rome Hotel this morning. So it's just part of the deal for me. And behind me here is Mount Logan, second highest peak in North America. It's a massive peak, and I've been on Logan 3 times. But one thing that's super impressive, if you ski around Mount Logan, it takes 120 miles circumnavigation around one mountain. So this is a big place. We're on the Seward Glacier, and here's my friend Charlie. And we're just going to do a moderate alpine climb and get back into it. So off we go, and we're just climbing, alpine style, 2 of us, stuff in our packs, off we go. We climbed about 1,500 feet, and in the course of the day, 12 hours, from when we started the climb, it was like 15 degrees Fahrenheit. By the time we got to where we were thinking we would bivouac, it was 40 plus. It was 40 Fahrenheit. And it was rock. So we were trying to find a place to hide and get secure bivouac. And this was a belay. Charlie belayed me up another 40, 50, 60 feet. I got a stopper in and I kept climbing. I thought I found a ledge that I could chop the snow off and maybe we could get the tent up. And then out of nowhere, I never saw it, but a rock the size of a briefcase hit me and knocked me off. And I wrote a piece in Alpinist magazine, first issue of Alpinist, called Down to the Water, about this. And what happened next was Charlie secured me here in this tent, right here. And up in here was where I was when I got hit by the rock. And I was injured enough that I just didn't think I could be lowered. I certainly couldn't rappel. I thought I had internal injuries. My left arm was paralyzed. I was totally messed up. And so we made a decision to secure me there, and Charlie wrapped off by himself with the goal of getting to our tent to the sat line we had. So I spent 2+ days on this ledge by myself. These photos were taken after the helicopter rescue that occurred by the Canadian Park Service. It's a little closer view. But the PJs, which are Special Forces rescue helicopter people from the 210th in Anchorage, flew into Mount Augusta with Black Hawk. 200-foot wire came down, as this guy, Dave Schumann, is what happened when Timmy O'Neill roasts you at the Red Rock Run. What can I say? I did lose the most. So Jay and I decided to go to Alaska in 2009 and try to do a new route on Mount Huntington. I'd already done to another new route on the west face of Huntington before. It's a beautiful mountain, and you can see it here. This sort of cool bunch of things you can see here. This is the Tokatitla Glacier going out south. This is the Ruth Glacier. This is the Rooster Stone. And Hunter's over here. This was taken from the top of Isis. So one of the things that was really cool about this was the objective we had is really hard to get to in the east face of Huntington because of ice falls and just logistics and avalanche danger. And this little cirque here, right here, no one had ever landed in it before. Paul Roderick, who's deep pilot from Tattoo, a good friend, a good guy, said he'd land us in there so we could access these different things. So at the time I was living in Victor, Idaho, so I called it my private Idaho. And this is why we were there. The east face of Huntington has a couple of routes on it, but there's a whole left side of this face has no routes. And it's about 6,000 feet of climbing. So we landed here, came over here, wrapped down through here, came around here, looked up. It didn't look anything like this photo. It was completely bone dry. So it was just big wall climbing instead of ice climbing. We weren't desiring nor had we intended to big wall climbing. So we had this, on a day we had to start thinking about other things to do. But one interesting photo I thought I'd throw in, this photo was taken by Paul Roderick in 1999 when two people I've already talked about tried to do this route. So these two people on the ledge right here are Alex Lowe and Doug Chabot. But they were unsuccessful completing a new route also. So Paul lands us in the surf, in the Otter. We went around and we looked at that east face, and that wasn't going to happen. But right next to it is the Rooster Stone. So we did a little warm-up climb. We just climbed this route here. We mostly soloed it, so I climbed it in 10 hours, just to get on top of something. This is the summit of the Rooster Stone. We found out later it was the fifth ascent of the peak, which was not important, but it was just surprising. Behind me there is the Moose's Tooth and the Bear's Tooth. And this is the backside of Dickey, and that's the backside of Morrell. So you're looking east towards the roof. So we started looking around in the surf where we had landed, and all of a sudden, all this stuff sort of appeared. And so the first thing we climbed was this system right here. We went up this weakness here, turned the corner. There's a lot more climbing above this, but it ended up being 32 pitches of climbing. It was really fun. We didn't take all of this shit. We just laid it out on the tarp for the photos. We took off at 2 o'clock in the morning. This is, one of the benefits of climbing in Alaska is it's, I've been there many times later in the year where you don't even need to head up because it's always light. So you can just keep climbing, especially great with alpine style routes. So we started climbing. We ended up calling this route Prize Fight, and we're just climbing, with our packs on, cruising up this fun, cool mixed terrain. This ice corner I'm leading here probably melted away the next day because it's south facing. We get to the top of the weakness, turn the corner, and just as a reference point, here's where the plane landed, right there. And the tent's just barely hidden by this. So shovel, that was a mistake. I had to dig this snowball with my helmet. So this is on the south peak of Huntington, it's not the main summit. And we did like 30 rappels to get off, and we get back down and hang out at camp. The weather's still good. And we look, 90 degrees around from the route we just did, and here's these two huge ice climbs. They're just day climbs. But, the one on the left we called Lagavulin, for reasons some of you may know, and one on the right we called the Black Pearl, because Jay had watched every Pirates of the Caribbean movie with his son Reed. So this is on the Black Pearl, really beautiful ice climb, and this was just day climbing. We just wake up, have breakfast, wrap up, walk across, start climbing, and come back for dinner. Pretty great. Beautiful ice on this bitch. Jay led. So after those 3 routes and Roostercombe, we've had a pretty decent trip, and we're thinking, well, we're out of here, let's just head out to Talkeetna. So we're thinking about Talkeetna because the Fairview, Windy Corner, mosquitoes, warmth, and all that. But actually, on the way out from Tehilton Base, Paul picked us up, bounced us over to Tehilton Base, and then we went out. I had him flying by Vista. This is the north face of Thunder Peak. And this is something I've been eyeing since the early 2000s, but I've never seen it actually be straight. And we fly out by it on the way to Talkeetna, and there it is. It's totally in. And there's a line. I don't know if I need to do this, but here it is. So, this is sort of a problem sometimes, but it's far enough left, and you can climb the lower part fast enough that it turned out to work out all right. This is the upper part of the route. Again, beautiful alpine ice, mixed climbing through rock steps and rock runs. So we spent like a half a day in Talkeetna, bought a bunch of new ropes, and flew right back in. And again, landed right within 30 minutes of the base of the climb, wrapped up. And this time we went really light again. My pack and James' pack were 17 pounds, not counting the rope and the rack. And off we went. The initial part was easy. We just simul climbed. And then after we got up to this horizontal band, then it got steeper. This is the cross section of the route, actually. I'll show you some photos to give you a frame of reference. And then, so the upper part of the easy climbing was here, and then all of a sudden it got a lot steeper and a lot harder to protect. And so Jay dropped his pack. We had a second line, as you can see, and so we fall on these harder pitches. But this pitch right here took Jay 2.5 hours to leave. It was mainly because it was so hard to hit here. But if you look at the red rope, you can see it's not touching anything. So it gives you a sense of the angle. So there's looking across and below at the horizontal ledge and the wall next to us, just to give you some scale. So, again, really good rock, great mixed climbing. And what we strategized was that there was a crevasse, halfway up the route that we could bend in. So we didn't take a tent. We did take light sleeping bags and a stove, but no tent. And here we get to this crevasse 20 hours after we started climbing. It was like the Hilton. And the ice in Alaska, a lot of times, is so hard. It's just so condensed and so old, compressed, everything is dull after a day of climbing. So we slept for about 7 hours, started climbing again, started going up, just half pumping kind of, 50, 60 degree ice. And occasionally we get to a really good rock step, and you can't see it, but Jay's got a 70 screw in it, so he's got one piece of gear in there. And more continuous calf burning ice. But we're making pretty good time. And we're high enough now that we're not worried by any seracs or cornices. The last couple of pitches just went on and up like this. And we at this point have been climbing for about 40 hours straight. Or 40 hours since we left the tent, pardon me. So coming over the lip here, it was pretty psyched. So was I. On the summit, we just got a snow hole and rested for 3 hours and brewed up. And actually got a summit photo. So Jay and I were both 56 years old at the time. Sort of fun. Our combined ages of 112, and we still figured out how to climb. This was 2009. So after that, we had a horrendous descent, which I won't bore you with. But the only reason we got back to the tent 67 hours after we left was the thing in the middle of the photograph here. So I just wanted to thank everybody again. I hope entertained you a little bit, and just want to leave you with this photo here. This is the north face of Kennedy. A lot of you can learn how to ice climb at places like this and learn how to rock climb. If you want to combine those things, become an alpinist, do it. But it's hard work, and it takes a lot of combination of gathering skills and time. But it's been really rewarding for me. And so it's been really rewarding for me to be here tonight. Thank you very much.
Please, one more round of applause for Jack Patrick. So just a few more announcements before we start our raffle.